Before BSO, I was Michelangelo, the artistic flow coming from STL Mall. The legendary shows, I knew I'd be a star, but little did I know it wouldn't be from ball. See, that's the big league, the radar online. I wasn't the undefeated, but I still was gon' shine. I took a few L's, took them shots like Pop, but then I got my weight up like Jason Whitlock. Pivot like Ryan Clark, skipping Bailey, Shannon Sharp. Don't have to scream like Stephen A to get my point across. Climb Jamel Hills, won carry championships. They were quick to pull the gun, hoping Rob would quit. But 15 years later, Rob still the shit. Rob still legit. Rob still on everyone's pound for pound list. Rob is courtside, Rob is ringside. Catch Rob outside at the 50-yard line. Don't act surprised, Rob is a winner. George Steinbrenner cooking up these headlines. What you want for dinner? The Black Sports Center, you know who I be. Triple OG, the Ohio State University. That's who reps me. I'm love for a friend. I just murdered this track, called that a dead spin. The headline king is back.
Daniel Jones read a Dear John letter before he was released by the New York Giants. He essentially took responsibility for his poor play over the last few seasons. He took accountability for the fact that as a first-round draft pick, he was not able to take the Giants to the heights that they believed that he would. He seemed sincerely sad and upset that he didn't perform to the level that he believed that he could. And for what it's worth, this is how he was treated by the media after that.
You guys think he had this saved in his notes since like 2020? In all seriousness, DJ, I could have saved you like 90 seconds. A rewrite. Sorry you paid me $108 million for one playoff win, and I look forward to reviving my career as Brock Purdy's backup. The end.
For the record, I'm a big fan of Elle Duncan. But she has this all backwards. You can never...
And the Rock means...
be overpaid as a worker. Let me repeat. You can never be overpaid as a worker. The reason why is you're worth what they offer you. If someone offers you $100, somebody offers you $1,000, and somebody offers you $1 million, that is what you're worth. You yourself cannot be overpaid. And therefore, any criticism about what you make should not be thrown in your face. It should be thrown in the employer's face. The Giants are worth over $7 billion. They're not hurting for cash. They had an opportunity to simply walk away from Daniel Jones. They had no obligation to offer him any type of contract. They could have franchised Daniel Jones, or they could have allowed him to become a free agent. The Giants decided that they were going to offer him $120 million. That's not Daniel Jones's fault. You should never, and the Rob means never, apologize for someone offering you an exorbitant amount of money. What are you going to do? If somebody came to you and said, hey, I'm going to offer you $100 million, and you know that you're trash, are you still not going to take it? Or are you going to say, no, I'm not going to take the $100 million because I'm not good? That never happens, ever, in any industry. Because if you look at it, sports analysts, sports reporters, hot takers, they can say the same thing about us. They can say the same thing about us. You say certain things, you give certain opinions, and you're way off. Should we garnish your check? Should we take your salary back? You are what you're worth. You may not like Stephen A. Smith, but if ESPN says he's worth $25 million a year, that's what he's worth. He's not overpaid. You can be critical of the employer, but not the employee. So Daniel Jones, I want you to hold your head up high, super high, because nobody told the Giants to pay you that money. And furthermore, everyone said, don't do it. So if there's any criticism to be levied, if there's any slander to be thrown out there, the slander is to the New York Giants, not to Daniel Jones, who seems to be a good kid and a bad quarterback. So why is he getting all of this anger? Why is he supposed to apologize? He didn't have the GM's daughter tied up in a Brooklyn basement. They came to him and said, listen, even though Saquon Barkley's the reason that you've been successful in any shape, form, or fashion, we want to offer you $120 million. What was he supposed to do? Say no? Come on, man. We have to be honest and unbiased. We have to talk about facts, not feelings. The NFL is the only American professional sports league that doesn't guarantee their contracts, even though they make over $20 billion in revenue every year. Even though they're the only American sport where you may see someone almost die on the field, where you may see someone doing their hands are doing the crip signals after a hit. This should be the league out of all the leagues that have guaranteed contracts. But the NFL is the only league where they could just break a contract anytime they feel like it. And the only repercussions is something called dead cap. Cap hits. It's not real repercussions. It's accounting repercussions. The person that's owed the money is the person that is dealing with the repercussions because the contract is not worth the words that is on the paper. And somehow, some way, NFL owners have manipulated media and have manipulated fans to believe that it's the players that are greedy. It's the players that want too much. It's the players that are overpaid. When someone like Derrick Henry, right, is making less money than the eighth man on the Toronto Raptors, that should tell you there's a problem with the salary structure in the NFL. And I know what people like to say, well, there's more players in the NFL. That's all. You just scale it down. It's not a big major accounting thing that you can't figure out. You have X amount of dollars. You have X amount of players. You can average it out. Yeah, you maybe can't do an NBA style contract, but you telling me you can't figure out a way to guarantee Patrick Mahomes' contract? Patrick Mahomes should have asked for a guaranteed contract. But instead, he took a team-friendly 35-year deal because they manipulated and they bamboozled the players' union over so many years. Don't forget, this is a league. This is a media. This is a fans that actually had real discussions on if Lamar Jackson deserved a max contract for a quarterback. That's all you really need to know. I saw that Trump's sentencing for his 34 felonies have been suspended indefinitely. Now, I hate to be a brother that said I told you so, but I told you so. I told you many, many, many times that Trump was going to win the presidency. I told you many, many, many times that Trump would never spend a day in jail. And you didn't believe me. Some of you very strongly didn't believe me and called me a lot of names that really, hurt my feelings. Now that it's happened, I have a lot of people asking me, how did you know? Well, I'm a man of logic. I'm a man of facts, not feelings. So I just look at things from a wide lens. In general, just the fact that Donald Trump was a presidential candidate in 2016, and then after knowing everything that he's done in 2024, let me know that his chances were very, very good. Because sometimes things happen, they sneak up on you, it's a wave, and you're not really expecting it. Like, for instance, I think the Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, college basketball, I don't think people were really expecting the wave that was. So they're like, they didn't know how to handle it. I talked about that in another video. I think when Trump came out in 2016, I'm like Adam Schefter. Now I gotta check on some things, but that's all right. We all good. No news to break right now. But when Trump came out in 2016, people just didn't take it seriously, but it became a wave. And you don't take stuff seriously, and then it happens. You're like, whoa, I can't believe that it's happened. Well, it was 8 years ago. So everything that anybody ever needed to know about Donald Trump, they knew. The good, the bad, the ugly. Mostly bad and ugly. They knew. So there was no, it's like the George Bush thing.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. It fooled me, we can't get fooled again.
I wasn't going to be fooled again. I've already seen this play out. I've already seen this happen. I've already seen America say, even though this white woman is a Clinton, and you don't get no higher up in the politics than that, even though this is a white woman and it's a Clinton, I don't want a woman to be president. You think things have changed in 8 years where a black woman, Indian, whatever you want to call her, on a short campaign, they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to have a black woman be president. Nah. It's just logic. It's just logic. They'd rather have the worst white man than a woman be president. It wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't going to happen. You can see it. You just pay attention to these things, you can see it. You just got to ask yourself, did you really think that was going to happen? Also, what I found out over these last 8 years is why you do have the radical MAGA people, and you see those people online and marching the streets and at the rallies, you did not really understand the amount of people that you would probably consider a neighbor, friend, a coworker, that seems perfectly normal, that got MAGA paraphernalia inside their house. It's a lot more than you think. I have those neighbors. Neighbors I've taken a shot with, had a barbecue, watched the game with. I've had them. So I know that they exist. And they exist in much larger numbers than you think. You saw Obama tell people, man, what are you doing? You'd rather go with Trump. Yes. People are easily manipulated. They're followers. He has a good promo. That's why I said maybe The Rock could be the president one day. He got a good promo. First off, everything is wrestling. And what was end up happening was the more negative that you talked about him, the bigger heel that you made Donald Trump, the more that made him popular, the more that round up his fan base. He was NWO. He was Hollywood Hogan. Actually had Hogan at the Republican convention. The more negative that you talked about, the more you say he was the bad guy. He was Tony Montana. Why do you got all these Puerto Ricans and all these minorities They like the bad guy. Because we're a backwards society. There's no such thing as karma. I tell people this all the time. It's a fallacy. It's something that people say to make them feel better about the things that are happening around them. Oh, they get to what's... No, they don't. They don't. I seen the police officer. I know what happened with Mike Brown. And I saw him get $1 million for killing a black teenager in the street. Left his body there for 6 hours. The story that they tell you is not the real story. Got $1 million killing a black man. Karma's not real. Oh, they get it in there. What other ways is Trump going to get it? Became the president twice. What's the karma? It's not going to jail. What's the karma? He tried to get an attorney general, Gates, that does the same thing as Diddy. Diddy's in jail. Gatz is playing golf probably today. Karma's not real. Now, I don't like to get into people's religion and things of that nature, but you think of these higher powers and all of this stuff, I think they just watch. Because why would they have such atrocities happen? Why are poor people are made to stay poor? You know what I'm saying? It's there is no karma. What happens, happens. There is no get back. Actions do have a reaction. Whatever you do, there is a domino effect involved. But as far as some spirit coming in and making everything better, no. It's not going to work like that. If you punch somebody in the face today, you might get away with it. It's possible. Then again, somebody might shoot you and they get away with it. I've watched enough unsolved mysteries to know that there's a lot of people that get away with crimes. There was no karma for them. Murdered somebody here, ran over somebody there, robbed a bank, never found the money. There is no karma. What's the karma for them? That's all an unsolved mystery. They robbed a bank for $11 million, untraceable funds back in '89. Never found them. They're living great. No karma. So if you're expecting something, some sort of get back for Trump, the man is almost 80 years old. It ain't happening. It would have already happened already. Evil people win a lot. You go through the billionaires list, it's not a lot of nice people. There's a lot of bad people that are winning. In sports, there are a lot of bad people that are playing sports and making millions and millions of dollars. There's no karma for them. Nobody's perfect. And we all make mistakes. But to think that when you see somebody inherently bad and you just assume because nothing else is happening to them that karma's going to catch up with them, you're living in the Matrix. We back at it. One take Rob. BSO. Let's do this.
Big Rob's the Headling King. Akeem is a dream. You're doing Balco, that's the clear and the cream. A Flacco is a lead. A Drea's for the street. You say you for the culture, but don't bring the heat. A Jimmy's a butler. A mid QB, we called it a J Cutler. A hustler's a flint. A Bayless is something you might want to skip. Screaming dudes, Big Stephen A. Smith. Sell out to Whitlock. When your stock is falling, that's a Madoff. Play, y'all failed the Dakota Prescott. You got blindsided, that's a Michael Orr. Your girl's a Jerry Jones, she's a Skeletor. Felling up is a Trump, a button is a pump it up. A LeBron is a con, read the page of a book.
My brother, what are you cheesing for?
Oh, you being interviewed by Taylor Rooks. White girls ballin', that's a Caitlin Clark. The soundboard shuffle is Jokic cooking 80 at the top of the arc.
R.I.P. Big L, one of the best rappers to ever do it. Headlines with your boy, Robert Littal. I was watching Deadpool and Wolverine, and they brought up this concept of anchor beans. You know, characters that are so important to the brand that without them, the brand doesn't exist. The brand falls apart. Your Spider-Mans, your Batmans, your Supermans, your Iron Mans, your Wolverines. You get what I'm saying? We have those in sports. We have your LeBron Jameses, Steph Curry, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Shohei, Aaron Judge. So you know what an anchor bean is in sports. Caitlin Clark is the anchor bean for women's basketball. Now, I know that upsets a lot of people, but we're talking facts, not feelings. Caitlin Clark's the anchor beam for everything that is women's basketball. And I understand that upsets some people. But I wasn't surprised that she turned down the 3-on-3 league Unrivaled. She turned it down. And the reason that she turned it down is because of you. And I'm pointing at you. And if you're like, why me? Then you know what you did. You are the reason that she turned it down. Because Caitlin Clark herself has done nothing wrong. What Caitlin Clark being this anchor beam of women's basketball, it brought out the worst in people. All people. Specifically media. We're talking facts, not feelings. The people that cover the WNBA was not ready. They were not ready for the big time. In the immortal words of Queen Latifah and Juice, they were local. They weren't national. They wasn't ready. They wasn't ready for the #1 hit. And it came across in their reporting. Very biased, very personal, not very professional. They showed that they did not have the skills to handle such a big story. Furthermore, it was an election year. And since it was an election year, once again, you have an anchor beam who also brings all of the attention to the media, to the fans. It was an election year. So Caitlin Clark got used as a prop from you know what side. Then it became a race war, even though we were supposed to be talking about ball. Then it became black versus white, MAGA versus liberals, or whatever it may be. When in reality, it should have just been about ball. Became Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark because they wasn't ready. They wasn't ready for this anchor beam to enter into the WNBA. So you had a lot of things that were happening that wasn't reported fairly. That wasn't reported the way that it should have been reported. Because you had gatekeepers in charge of things that didn't want to be mainstream. They want to be local. They don't know how to handle fame. They don't know how to handle attention. I saw media people say, I'm so happy that Caitlin's not in the playoffs anymore, so we can just go back to our little bubble that we were in before. We just want to be in our little bubble that we were in. The bubble's burst. There is no more bubble. Things have changed. Business has picked up, as JR would say. So you do all of this. You say all of these things. You call Caitlin Clark's fans the Caitlin KKK fans. You try to blame racism on Caitlin Clark's fans. Meanwhile, you have lawsuits against the coaches and players, the teams, the Seattle Storm. You got craziness going on in the Chicago locker room, craziness going on, accusations in the Las Vegas locker room, but it's Caitlin Clark fans that messed up the league. You wasn't ready. You weren't ready. But then you have your 3-on-3 league, and you need the ratings. You need the boost. You need the media attention. Now you want to give Caitlin Clark the move. Now you want to be a friend. Now you want her to come out and help you out. You're the ops. You're the ops. Why am I helping the ops? You just tried to do a drive-by shooting on me, and now you want me to come hang out in your hood. What type of sense does that make? All Caitlin Clark wanted to do was play ball. She's not attention-starved. And don't get me wrong, if you want to be a supermodel, you want to be a podcaster, you want all of these other opportunities afforded to you that wasn't afforded to you before because you played in the WNBA, that's amazing. That's great. I'm pulling for you. There's nothing wrong with that. But just remember, the reason that you're getting these opportunities now, The reason so many people eyes are on you, the reason that people see your game and call you great is because one individual brought double amount of the people to the games, to the TV networks. That's why. Nobody said that you had to kiss ass. Nobody said you had to make it easy for her. No one said that you had to just let her play, let her score 90 points. Nobody said you didn't have to play hard. All people said was, just treat her like you treat everybody else. With a little respect. But maybe that's because the WA don't have a lot of respect for themselves. And that's why we see these different lawsuits and accusations. How could you expect them to give respect to Caitlin Clark when they don't give respect to each other? How can you expect them to give respect to Caitlin Clark when they don't give respect to each other? So I'm not surprised that Caitlin said no so she can go and play golf. They treat her better in the PGA, the LPGA. They're nicer to her over there. She's out here playing golf. She thinks she's Lady Tiger Woods. And they treat her better than her own league. So hopefully, this is a lesson to all of you. Specifically, the people in the media. Do better. You're mainstream now. You're big time. You're playing with the big boys now. The big girls now. Be better. Show your intelligence. Show your unbiasedness. Show that you can cover a game without having all these personal thoughts in your heart. Marcus, please. I'm on a roll right here. Cut it out. I got a good flow going. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You still my boy. Be better. You be better. Fans, be better. Election year is over. Your boy won. Be happy. Let these ladies just ball. Everybody be better. I want the Caitlin Clark fans, the bad ones, the trolls, you be better. The Angel Reese fans, please be better. The Asia Wilson fans, please be better. As we roll into this second year, and now you got some money coming in. You got the TV rights coming in. You got the CBA about to be different. This is your opportunity. Don't blow it. Take that. There are reports that Diddy, Brother Love, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs is running things in the jail. Longtime hip-hop journalist Toure had this to say about inmates fighting each other to make Diddy's bed.
Some of the men locked up with Diddy are fighting for the opportunity to make his bed? What? According to someone who was in the unit that Diddy is in not long ago, there are like groupies among the inmates who want to do special things for Diddy and might even get jealous of another man who gets to make his bed or do other special nice things for Diddy.
Was it just me or did Toure seem a little bit too excited about giving that report? That's another conversation for another day. I know a lot of people are wondering, Diddy, someone who is a billionaire, someone that lived in lavish mansions, yachts, private jets, how can he just walk into a jail with regular inmates and take it over? Well, that's what I'm here for. It's my job to give you the facts, not feelings. In our society, especially the not so United States of America, we are basically separated into three type of people. It used to be two, but now it's three. You have leaders, you have followers, and you have people that pretend to be leaders on social media. These are the three type of people that are in the world, especially the not so United States of America. You can tell by the election that most people are followers. Most people get told what to do. Most people are easily manipulated. It is my opinion that if you ask the majority of Americans, honestly, they would probably prefer a dictatorship. They want someone to tell them what to do in a colorful way. And that's how you end up with Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and all of the other people that are in politics that are running the country right now. Because people are followers. If you tell the majority of people what they want to hear, they will follow you. That's what all bosses have learned. It doesn't have to be true. It don't have to be facts. You just have to get into their feelings. If you tell them something over and over and over again, no matter if they're presented with facts, they still won't believe it. You don't believe me? Go on YouTube and find the video of the guy that goes around to Trump supporters and just presents them with facts. And watch how they just say, it doesn't matter. People want to believe what they want to believe, regardless if it's true or not. Puff Daddy has always been a leader. He's always been a boss. Either you have it or you don't. And when you're a boss and you're a leader, it doesn't matter your environment. You're going to thrive. So for the people that thought Puff Daddy would break in jail, that would mean that Puff Daddy's whole facade over all of these years was fake. What we're finding out is that it's not fake. It's real. He has a way with people. He has a way with manipulation. He has a way of talking to people that makes them feel good about themselves. He has a way of communicating with people to get them to do what he wants them to do. Basically, he's turned the jail into making the band. That's the type of person that Sean, Puffy, Brother Love, Diddy Combs is. And when I talk about that third type of person, the fake social media leader, that's an individual who is living in a fantasy world on social media. For whatever reason, they've connected with people on social media, but it's not their reality. Their reality is they work at Burger King. But when they get on social media, people think they're the king. They hang on their every word. They listen to their bad advice. Now, why they can't translate that to the real world? That's another discussion for another day. So am I surprised that inmates are flocking to Diddy? Am I surprised that Diddy has figured out the system in less than a couple of months? I'm sure they tried Diddy at the beginning. But if you know anything about his history, or if you read anything about his indictment, he'll blow your shit up. He blows up cars. He probably has hitmen. He's not someone to be trifled with. Furthermore, if you go through the details of the freak-off parties, that's not much different than what goes on in jail. The only difference is, not a mansion, it's a cell block. I'm sure the price of baby oil has went up substantially in the prison system now that Diddy is there. It makes you wonder if Diddy's going to be able to skate on these charges. It's very difficult to beat federal charges. But when you have an individual that his entire life has been about manipulating people, has been about being in power, has been about cheating the system, you have to wonder, does Diddy have one more bad boy move in him? What do you think? There's been a lot of discussion lately about Deion Sanders. Prime time. Coaching the Dallas Cowboys. Michael Irvin had this to say. He thinks that it's 100% happening if the Cowboys select Shedeur Sanders.
Today, you do believe, and I do too, that if Shedeur went to the Cowboys, Deion would accept the job.
I believe 100%. And I can tell you, good sources have told me that. Great sources have told me that. That's all I can say like that without violating anything else.
The play.
I have a couple of thoughts on this. First off, congrats to Deion. Taking Colorado from 1-10 to potentially the college football playoffs, that's amazing. He needs to get credit, for that. When you're dealing with Deion Sanders, you have to separate when you're dealing with Deion and when you're dealing with prime time. I've had to deal with both. Deion Sanders was my favorite player by far growing up when I was a kid. But you know what they say about, meeting your heroes. So I've seen both sides of Deion. And there's a lot of the good side and there's a lot of the bad side, which is, not much different than all of us. But obviously he's a much higher profile individual, so he gets spotlighted or not. Yes, there are a lot of people that hate on Deion Sanders, that want him to fail. His flamboyantness, if that's a word, is not much different than when he was a player. And there was a lot of people that wanted him to fail as a player as well. So that's not surprising from certain people in the media, certain fans. They're never going to like a black man that is so confident and so willing to speak, his mind. On the flip side, there are a ton of people that connect with that and want Deion and Colorado and Shedeur and Travis Hunter to succeed. So, there's a little yin and yang, to that. As far as the Cowboys, though, I don't know. We have to address the elephant in the room. Dakota Prescott, who just got a $60 million contract. And he has a no trade clause. So even if they wanted to get rid of him, he could just say no. Either you have to pay or play me, or he would dictate where he wanted to be traded to. I think this is good for media. It's good for First Take. It's good for Club Shay Shay. But I think Deion would be smart for now to stay in Colorado. The Big 12 is not a powerhouse conference. Clearly, recruits will connect with Deion. They will see that Colorado is the only team that's been on national TV every single week. He's going to get more Shedeur Sanders. He's going to get more Travis Hunters. He's going to get better linemen to the point where they may be able to compete for a national championship, if not this year, in the near, future. But like I said, it's good to talk about it. It gets the people, going. And let me be honest with you. I mean, if it was to happen, it would be one of the biggest stories in sports. If you have Jerry Jones, Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, all of the Dallas media, it would be that you think they talk about the Cowboys a lot now on ESPN? Good luck, Jacksonville Jaguars, if you ever think you're going to get a segment on First Take if Deion was to become the head coach. You know what grinds my gears? MVP talk. I hate MVP talk. The NBA has a MVP ranking. They had it after the first week of the season. Teams that played 3 games, and they had an MVP ranking. I hate MVP talk. MVP. Is it Lamar Jackson? Is it Josh Allen? Is it Derrick Henry? I hate an MVP. I hate Rookie of the Year. I hate all of it. It should be Jared Goff. I hate him. Is it Jokic? Is it SGA? We're 2 weeks into the season. Everybody has 3 games. Let's talk about the MVP. MVP. I hate the MVP. And I tell you why. Because if you're in the MVP talk, that means you're elite. That means you're one of the best of the best. you're high tier. When we talk MVPs, you're high tier. And you know what that means to me? If you're high tier and you're the MVP talk, you shouldn't care about the MVP. The only thing you should care about is one of these. Championship rings. That's what you should care about. Because once you hit a certain level, or you have won a championship before, that's all that matters. MVPs are nice. Aaron Rodgers has a lot of MVPs. Brett Favre has some MVPs. Welfare Favre. A lot of people have MVPs. But the ring, that's what they remember you by. What would you rather be remembered by? When they talk about Tom Brady, they say 7-time Super Bowl champion. When they talk about Aaron Rodgers, they say 3-4-time MVP. There's a difference. They talk about Magic Johnson, they say 5-time NBA champ. Kobe Bryant, 5-time NBA champ. Steph Curry, 4-time NBA champ. You just want an MVP? Joel Embiid as an MVP, how's that working out for him? Not too much, right? I hate MVP talk. Because if you're the MVP and you don't win that ring, it's going to be a problem. I remember when David Robinson won the MVP, and then he got cooked by Hakeem Olajuwon. You want the ring at the end or you want the MVP? Preferably you want both. Think it matters to Lamar Jackson? If he has 7 MVPs, he want that ring. You think Josh Allen cares that he's beating Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, even though they get clapped in the postseason? He don't care. Don't care about a regular season game. Don't mean nothing to Josh Allen. Josh Allen want that ring. He want to beat KC when it matters. It's nice. We're going to celebrate. We're going to have a little drinky drink. But that's not the end goal. That's like, you see Patrick Mahomes walked off the field with a smirk. Yeah, they can beat us in the regular season. We'll see when it's big boy time. And that's the difference from the elite. When it's big boy time or big girl time, that's the difference. Not anybody, but you can be elite in the regular season. You can win an MVP because it's a regular season award. When it's big boy time, though, that's what separates. That's what separates. That's when we talk about Tom Brady and we talk about Peyton Manning. That's what separates. Who has the rings? And in 10 years, when I'm hopefully retired, sitting in a porch somewhere watching deer run around with no internet, and Stephen A. Smith is got super gray hair and still yelling at the screen, and they're talking about Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Fields, not Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts. Hey, Justin Fields, I'm just playing. I mean, maybe you can win one too. They'll be talking about the rings, who got them and who didn't, and that's going to be the barometer. That's all that. Canelo, tell them what they want.
Payday, you want payday?
I said, Canelo, tell them what they want.
Payday, you want payday?
Normally, when we're talking about the cash cow of boxing, we're talking about Canelo Alvarez. But no. Today, we're talking about Jake Paul because everybody wants that Jake Paul stimulus package. I woke up today, I saw Andre Ward. I saw Artur Beterbiev. I saw a streamer, somebody named iSpeed, very popular young kid out there. I saw Evander Holyfield. Hell, I saw Tank Davis. And Tank Davis is only 5'6". But they all wanted that Jake Paul retirement fund. And the reason why is because they saw Mike Tyson get $30 million to to fight Jake Paul on Netflix. 100 million people saw Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I don't know if 100,000 people have ever seen Andre Ward fight. 100 million people. Every MMA fighter that Jake Paul has fought has made more money in their 1 or 2 fights with Jake Paul than they did their entire career in the UFC. That would frustrate me to see Dana White on Air Force One with Donald Trump doing the dance, talking about how he's blowing $1, $2, $3 million at the casino while he's paying me $35,000 and my eyes falling out of my head from the octagon. So yeah, I understand. I'm not hating. If somebody told me I could fight Jake Paul, I would do it. I would be a meme for $10 million, set my family up for life. I understand. Here's what I don't understand. Honest kids. These are really good. The hypocrisy of it all. Because see, these same people say Jake Paul is terrible for boxing. He's destroyed boxing. He's messing up boxing. It's a show. It's rigged. It's not real. It's influencer boxing. And what about the culture of the sweet science? They all say that until the possibility of the check. Then all of a sudden, it's okay for them to get in the ring with Jake Paul. Because money rules everything. Reality is a fallacy these days. Just like this scene from The Matrix.
Do we have a deal, Mr. Reagan?
You know, I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realize? Ignorance is bliss.
This is the reality that we're living in the not so United States of America. We know that certain people are con men. We know certain things are fake. We know that certain celebrities are idiots. We know that we're being conned, that we're being taken advantage of. We don't care. Steak still tastes good, even though we know it's not real. You know, when Jake Paul and Mike Tyson announced they were going to fight, what type of fight it was going to be. Mike Tyson is almost a 60-year-old man who's been beaten the head for the first almost 35 years of his life, has multiple health issues, has to get around with a wheelchair, needs a cane, had a bleeding ulcer. You knew in your mind how this fight was going to go, but you didn't care because you care more about the fantasy than the reality. You say you care, but you don't. And the reason that I know this is because Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was the most bet on boxing match of all time, and most of the money was on Mike Tyson. We prefer the Matrix. We prefer the fantasy. We don't like to live in reality because reality is not an enjoyable place to be. We prefer to think that there are people out there eating cats and dogs, even if all of the evidence says that this is not true. We prefer a president who has good one-liners and who's more of a comedian than a politician, than someone that will actually try to help the country. Because everybody wants attention. Everybody wants to be seen. And the best way to be seen is essentially to talk crazy. That's the best way to be seen. Talking normal, talking rational, trying to have intelligent conversations is not the way to be seen in 2024. Acting a fool is the best way for you to be seen in 2024. And it's monetized. And you make a lot of money. And the more money that you make, the crazier that you talk. I don't know if Jake Paul is a good guy or a bad guy. I don't know how much of this is real and how much of this is fake. What I do know is that in 2024, he's the perfect societal person to make this type of thing work. Many, many, many moons ago, I used to work at a call center for Charter Communications. And I was on the team that, called out and sold you cable and internet and long distance and whatever it was back in the day. And it was 12 people on the team, and there was like 10 teams, and each team had a manager, and then you had one big manager over all of the teams. And I remember the big manager left to go do something else, got another job. And they brought in a new manager. But they didn't bring in a new manager from within. They brought in a new manager from another company. And that other company really didn't have anything to do with what Charter Communications was doing. But they considered it a big hire. And this person came in because they had did all of this stuff with this other company and changed all the protocols, changed all the scripts, changed all the way that we did our selling and what was making us successful. And about 6 months after that manager came in, we all got called into a team meeting where they told us they were going to lay off about half of the teams because the sales numbers had dramatically decreased since this new manager came in and decided to do things her way, as opposed to the way that was actually working, before. Now, ironically, the new manager did not get fired and was not part of those layoffs. Ironically, the new manager just retired and went about her merry way with pension or whatever you get in retirement benefits or whatever. Meanwhile, there were people, young people like myself, who needed that job at the time. There's a lot of young people at that job, a lot of young parents, a lot of people that needed the benefits. They basically lost their job, lost their benefits, all because this person came in and messed up what was working, but didn't sacrifice anything. No consequences for what they've done. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a true story, but it's also a story about Aaron Rodgers. Lastly, we have to talk about Bronny James. You know me. I love some black nepotism. The reason I love black nepotism is only bad if you're black. Any other race, nepotism is good for them. The way that you create generational wealth, generational legacy, is through nepotism. Your grandfather passes down to your father, that passes down to you. You pass that down to your son passed that down to your grandkid. You get what I'm saying. This country is built off nepotism. Mainly white nepotism, but other cultures do it as well. There's a reason that there's Asian banks, Asian grocery stores. That's just passing it down, creating a generational wealth for the next group of your kids, your family members, whatever it may be. It's only bad when black people do it, which is crazy because we started from the least. We didn't start with anything. We never got our 40 acres and a mule. So I never had a problem with LeBron using nepotism to maneuver the Lakers around, helping out his son, Bronny, and getting them on the team. If any of us had that power, we likely would do it. People always say, well, nobody else did it but LeBron. Well, LeBron, A, is the only person that's played long enough to do it. Secondly, he's the only one that had the power to do it. And yes, there's been plenty of sons that have played in the NBA. Well, normally if you have the genetics, your father's an NBA player, you already are a step ahead. Your father's 6'6", and played in the NBA for 10 years, that's going to give you a jump. Black nepotism is deeper, or nepotism in general is deeper than just getting somebody an opportunity. You have to think about it like this. Let's say you work a corporate job. You're 5'8", and you make $100,000 a year, right? Not bad. You have a son. You can help him along with sports. You're doing okay. You're middle class, right? Your son is 5'9", 5'11", maybe 6 feet. Maybe he can be a cornerback, whatever. You can help him along, right? Now imagine, though, if you played professionally and you made $10 million a year, what could you do more for your son? Get him better trainers, probably as a chef. Your weight room is probably in your house. You have multiple connections. You already have an agent. You have marketing people. You have trainers. You probably are connected with the high schools and the colleges. All of that is part of nepotism. It's helping your children do better than what you had. LeBron was gifted, but he still had to work that out the mud. Bronny did not have to get it out the mud, which is fine. Why would you want your kids to get dirty? That really makes no sense to me. If I got it out the dirt, it's so you don't have to get dirty. It's so your white shirt can be clean. Your sneakers don't have to have no scuffs on it. You don't have to ride. I drove a hoopty for the first 30 years of my life. My daughter want a nice car, she go get it. One that she don't have to worry about the wheels falling off, or the brakes not working, or it overheating on the way to work. Why would I force her to deal with something like that? That's what nepotism is really all about. With that being said, it can only go so far. You can give someone the opportunity. What they do with the opportunity at that point is on them. And that's what's slightly concerning about Bronny. When I heard that he wasn't going on the road with the G League team because he was quote unquote too famous. You have this opportunity, an opportunity that you likely wouldn't have got if your name was Lamar James. You got to take advantage of every single opportunity, every single minute, every opportunity to play. You need to be playing at the playground. Pick up anytime. Because what's the point of getting an opportunity is not taking advantage of it? Because you're too famous? You don't want to walk through the airport? You don't want to sign a few autographs? You don't want to deal with a little paparazzi? But do you want to be an NBA player? Because that's what you have to do. You have to get better on the court. And that doesn't matter if your name is LeBron James Jr. or Lamar James Jr. At a certain point, the only way to prove that you're an NBA player is on the court. And the only way to do that is by getting reps on the court. It doesn't help you to sit on the bench while the Lakers play and hope they get up by 30 so you can get in with the scrubs. No, you need to be playing in competitive games, first quarter to fourth quarter. Because if not, then it just looks like this is just public relations. This is just PR. This is just, I wanted to get a picture, a video, something cool for the record books, history, and in a couple of years, it's going to be over. So Bronny has to decide, and he is a man. That's what LeBron always says. He's a man. He makes his own decisions. You make your own decisions. Walk into Jeannie Buss's office right now today and say, I'm going to fly United Airlines. I'm going to go with my team. I want to play every single minute that's afforded to me. And I want to prove that I'm an NBA player. This is the end of the video where I tell you that it's sponsored by absolutely no one yet. But if you could do me a favor and like and subscribe on all your podcasting channels, you can follow me on all of the social media spaces. We're going real digital in 2025. I got some heat coming for you. I really appreciate it. Just search the Headline King with Robert Littal.